I'm not going to give you an engagement ring. I'm not going to engage you. What's the use of getting engaged? There's no use. What are we doing that for? The time that we all been waiting for had finally arrived. My beautiful African queen came exiting out of that customs and immigration door, and she came into the Bahamas.
All right, guys, you are back here again. Look at you. You've been with us all the way, and we so thank God for you guys again. So we just don't want to take any more time, but before we go on, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and press that subscribe button. My name is Dee.
And I'm not.
Yes, and we are here sharing our love story. We are in part 7 now. This is part 7 you're watching. So if you haven't watched from part 1 to part 6, please go back, check out our videos and watch them. And if you guys have any comments, we would love to hear your feedback. Thank you for those who've been giving us feedback. Really, thank you so much, guys, for staying on with us. Press that notification bell as well so that you can get notified of every upcoming videos, and drop your comments and share these videos to your friends and family. All right then, so right into the story. So guys, we went over to the airport with my parents and my family and friends. They escorted me and I bought the flight. And guess what, guys? I had to go through the UK. For those who've been asking me, yes, I had to go through the UK because I had a UK visa, and that's why I needed a UK visa. You do not need a visa to come to the Bahamas from Kenya. Bahamians don't require Kenyans to have a visa to come here, but you have to go through either the UK or the US. So you know that you will need a visa to go through UK or to go through US. So in my case, since I had a UK visa, I went through the UK. We had to stop over the UK, and I remember at that point we had a flight. We had a issue with the flight, and so we were delayed for 8 hours in the airport. And I had to stay 8 hours, guys, and I was traveling by myself. But thank God for mobile phones and technology. I was able to stay on calls, updating my boyfriend then, and also updating my parents at home as well. And as much as I stayed that long in the airport, it was during the day, so I didn't have no trouble trying to look for rooms around or wherever. Yeah. And by God's grace, God helped us to have a safe travels until I arrived in the Bahamas. And so when I arrived, I was so surprised because my family in here, I mean, they were not my family yet, but they were my family. They were waiting for me on the other side with excitement. And you all remember my friend who I met first on Facebook, the one who was the reason behind my coming together with not really, but just meeting my husband. That same friend, she had organized a nice party for me, a welcome party for me as well. And also my family had organized a little something for me just to welcome me and make me feel at home. And the welcome was amazing. It was amazing, guys. They had a cake ready for me. Initially, the plan was to do my birthday in the Bahamas, but because of the delay of the visa, the visa arrival, then that caused the delay of my travel. But then by God's grace, we still was able to celebrate, and we cut cake, and everybody was excited. A lot of Nat's friends came over just to see me and welcome me. The church, oh man, these people were so warm. I felt so loved and so welcomed. Everybody was excited to meet this African lady. My husband calls me African queen.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And so I just want you guys to hear the side of my husband and the preparations they were doing and what's not. Yeah.
So once my wife, well, my girlfriend at that time, we were able to purchase a ticket once she had gotten her program, and then she traveled. I was very excited. I must tell you, I told her, listen, cut on your GPS as they were heading to the airport. I'm in the Bahamas, but she cut on her live WhatsApp location.
Yeah.
So I could see her turning into the Kenyatta Airport. Jomo Kenyatta Airport. I'm watching her, watching the dot as they come around the roundabout, the curb, and she entering the terminal. I was excited. That was my Christmas gift. It was coming. Glory to God. Hallelujah. And so I was extremely excited. Oh my God, that she was coming. And then, as she said, she kept me updated. And as she was in the terminal over that 8 hour, we had the video call.
Yes.
As she was walking through the lobby, she showed me some of the British souvenirs that they had on sale in the lobby. So I saw a few items, and so we tried to communicate and try to keep up to date and keep her company as much as I can. And so eventually, her flight was delayed, as she said, and so my mom went with me to pick her. And so we actually went early to make sure that we were in place to receive her at the airport. We had to wait a little bit, but eventually, the time that we all been waiting for had finally arrived. My beautiful African queen came exiting out of that customs and immigration door, and she came into the Bahamas. And it was Christmas time, like we said, this was December.
Yeah.
And so we had a Christmas tree that was a part of the airport decoration. So we went over to that corner, my mom and I and my girlfriend, and we took a photo at that Christmas tree. I think we'll show you that on the screen in a minute. We took a photo up there. So that was her first photo in the Bahamas. My mom, I'm so happy for her, who gave me, as you remember from the earlier topic of the video, I talked about how my mom gave me this envelope with the marriage certificate, with the application.
Yeah.
And so the same mom that gave me that envelope was there at the airport to help to receive and to witness that prophetic action come to reality. And so we picked her, we took her home. Now I must tell you, she was surprised. I think she was kind of disappointed as well, because I think her perception of the Bahamas,
the weather
was one thing. I think it was really too hot. I think it was really hot in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And so she had her surprises of how everything looked different. You know, in your mind, we think of what big, tall buildings and this, that, and the other. But the Bahamas was different from what she thought.
Actually, let me just interject for a minute. I remember, you know, in Kenya, the weather is quite fair. I mean, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. I mean, we have some months, like I think the month of March is usually hot in some, and I know in some areas, Kenya is hot, like the coast. We all know the coast, for those who know Kenya, the coastal area is very hot. But in the Bahamas, you guys, listen up. It was literally hot and extremely hot. The moment I was, you know, in the airport is always cold inside because of the AC. Any airport you go to is usually cold. When I walked out of the door, I was just hit by this humid, you call it humidity? I was hit by this humidity. It was so hot, guys. And I was like, hold on. Did I come during summer? Is this your summer, guys? Because I know summer is June and July in the West. They was like, no, this is not summer. This is, I think, around winter.
It's winter.
But it was hot. It was very hot. And, you know, I had my jacket on and all that. And I had to remove them. And, man, it was so hot. And I was like, hold on. Is it me? Or is it this the normal weather? I was like, oh, my God. And I was like, why didn't you even give me a heads up? I mean, you didn't tell me. You know, and I was excited. But at the same time, I was like, oh, my God, this is like this. And then the next day, I'm like, okay, it's still hot. Okay, the next day it's still hot. I'm like, hold on, this is the weather, like everyday weather? They were like, yeah, this is the normal weather. I was like, oh my God. And you see, and then I remember my dad-in-law saying that, you think this is hot? Wait until it's summertime. I was like, oh my God, help me. So guys, what I'm talking about is culture shock. Culture shock. Culture shock number 1 was the weather. Culture shock number 2 was the prices of everything, literally everything, because y'all know that when you are in Kenya, things of course are not, the prices that you're used to over there, when you come to the West, it's very, very different. Some of the things, you go to the food store and look at some of the prices of some items, and when you compare them to the prices of the same items in your country, it's quite different. And so I was sort of surprised, but then I had to keep reminding myself, this is the West. Life is expensive here compared to my home. It can't be the same, and I just had to adjust and remind myself that over and over again. Despite that, I was excited that God has opened a door for me to be in a country that I've never ever imagined that I'll ever be in. And I was also excited to meet loving people who really embraced me with a lot of love and care. They were bringing all kind of gifts. Y'all listen here. From the first day, I started receiving gifts just for coming to the Bahamas. And I remember what was so exciting too is that my friend, she requested my husband to take me out on a girls' date. And so apparently she invited some of her friends, so that helped me to meet more girls, to know more of their friends, and that kind of made me feel at home, and I remember she literally booked an Airbnb and we went there over dinner, and I knew we're just going there to have a sleepover. And so I remembered, she told me, I know you're tired, darling, so I know you've not rested enough, so I just want you to go upstairs and just take a nap and then come back later, and then we can go somewhere to eat or take pictures. So me and my kind friend who allowed me to go and sleep, I was so happy. And so I went over to the bedroom and I took a nap. On getting up, it was a 2-story apartment. So getting up, when I was coming down the stairs, because they were like, are we ready to go now? Let's go. So I got up, I freshened up, and then coming down the stairs, I was like, everybody there waiting for me, and it was like, surprise. I was like, my goodness, what's really going on here? Oh man, you guys just can't prank me like this. And I remember they had some nice decorations in their house, and balloons and flowers, and they had one big sign that was written, welcome to the Bahamas. Oh my God, that was so beautiful, guys. And the food, imagine they hired a professional chef just to come and cook that night just for the girls, and it was amazing. We had some nice Bahamian food. We really enjoyed the food and the drinks. And then after, it was a long night, because trust me, after that we had to go out and take pictures, and they showed me around, and it was just a fun night, a night full of fun and food and drinks, and it was really nice. And so later on in the night, we came back home to rest, and we rest, and then the following day I went back. They took me back to Mr. Pratt. And so I remember after that, I just had friends coming over to say hi, to see me, just to bring gifts and to welcome me, and everybody was just so excited for me. And then, guys, I didn't know all those surprises were coming, but there was a bigger surprise that was awaiting me. Now, remember, I came to the Bahamas for 3 weeks, and my main purpose for coming was to come and meet my in-laws, my parents-in-law, so that then after I will have met them, and then now we can start planning for our whatever engagement, wedding, whatever it was. But then that's for them, that's really, especially for the engagement, it's for the man to decide when he's going to put that ring on you, right? The engagement ring. And so for me, I was just there just to enjoy myself and meet my in-laws, and not by then there wasn't my in-laws, but just my husband really wanted me to meet the family. And so I remember something happened, and I don't want to say it. I want my husband to just give briefly what he was planning behind the scene.
So we're almost out of time, but I'm just going to give you a short idea, a glimpse. So now, with my girlfriend, I gave her the impression, or I made her feel like I'm not going to give you an engagement ring, I'm not going to engage you. What's the use of getting engaged? There's no use. What are we doing that for? It's the issue has already been settled. I've already settled with your father. Yes, I'll marry you. So that's the end case. So I'm just bringing you home to the Bahamas so you meet my parents. I get their approval if they like you or they accept you, yes or no. And then we start planning the wedding. So that was it. There was no need for no engagement. For what? But I think she had hinted, just passing, but she's looking forward to that engagement or whatever. Just hinting, showing out small clues to me. But I think I actually said to her, there's no need for engagement. I didn't actually, what do we get engaged with? There's no need for it.
Yeah.
So,
and that break my heart.
And so it kind of made me feel down. So she arrived on the 16th to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
So 10 days later, which would have been Sunday, that was our Sunday service.
Yeah.
So we had a service in the morning. And then we had, because Christmas would have been Saturday, the 25th. So Sunday was the day following Christmas, which would have been the 26th.
Right.
So what we did, I was conducting the service as a moderator at our church. So I said, now let me just invite her to come, just to greet the audience.
Right.
So I told her, just come, just say hello to everybody. The church already knew she was my guest. So I said, just come and just greet everybody, say hello to them, etc. So after she had said everything to them, I just kind of hold her by the shoulder or right hand and just say, okay, just stand there. And I continue to talk to her.
Because I was about to leave the pulpit.
She was about to return to her seat, so I just kind of beckoned to her, just remain there. So I said to her, okay, so we thank God for her, etc., etc. I said, now I have a question to ask her, and I'm so glad all of you are here to hear what she will answer me. So I said to her, and I asked her, I had the ring, the engagement ring. I said, so will you marry me? I got down on my knees, y'all.
Yes,
and I said, will you marry me? And she was shocked because I'd already brainwashed her to understand I'm not giving you an engagement. There's no need for it.
I didn't see that coming, guys.
There was no need for engagement. So for her, it was a shocker.
It was.
Mind you, that was one of the most important days of her life. She looked forward to being engaged.
Yes.
And in Kenyan and African tradition and culture, the engagement is a separate program all by itself. So for me to ask her, to engage her, it was just a shock. So I just shocked her, and she said yes. And the whole congregation was there celebrating.
Yeah.
And now that as I'm talking, I'm remembering the dream that she had, that the elder's wife had in the church. I think the elder did say in the dream there was an issue of this marital issue came up in the church where she ran away and the Lord brought me back.
Yeah.
And so we just bless the Lord. We're coming to the end of this specific video.
Yeah, the excitement, the dream was like, I was so excited. I was so much in shock. I couldn't believe this is happening. And I started running away because I was like, oh my God, I was so shy and overwhelmed, all kind of emotions. And the Lord just brought you, the Lord just picked you up. Like you didn't walk to me, you didn't run to me. The Lord just lifted you up and just dropped you right where I was. Yeah, so we don't want to go beyond that, guys. We don't want to go beyond that. So y'all just stay right there waiting for the next part 8. So you guys, we hope to see you on the next video, part 8. If you want to hear how we literally
organized for the wedding afterwards.
Yes. And how I was supposed to go back home and I didn't go back home. So I hope to see you guys on part 8. Stay tuned and please subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and drop those comments, ask us questions, tell us what you think, tell us, just give us your feedback, and we really appreciate that. And if you haven't shared this video, please share it with your friends and family, and we will appreciate that. God bless you guys, and we hope to see you on the next video. Nad and D, God bless.
Bye-bye.